This was one of those trips that was accidental. I didn't really do any research into it. I mean, we were riding down the road and headed to a museum in Kentucky,
I don't know why that does.
and I just happened to see a sign that said Lincoln's Birthplace. And I've really never heard of it before. So as we were coming back from the museum in Fort Knox, I stopped by, and I'm glad I did.
Do I? Nancy Reagan.
Nancy Lincoln.
I don't know.
It's Nancy Lincoln and.
And I'm not going to cut this video very much. It's just going to be the raw video of what I saw that day. And I'll talk about it a little bit as we go along. Did not make it back on that walkway. We were kind of crunched for time, and like I said, this wasn't planned. This trip just kind of happened. It's a pretty place though.
What are you doing?
And I guess that's a replica of his mother's, I guess you call it an inn. I'm not really sure. You can tell me about it in the comments if you know exactly what it was. I mean, I consider Abraham Lincoln one of our greatest presidents of all time, but I've never really done a lot of research into it. He's never really, piqued my interest in him. Even though I've read a biography about him, which I'm intending to read a biography about each and every president, starting with Washington, working my way through the line. And right now, I am on deck would be Gerald Ford. And I've tried to get that person right there sitting, just kind of chilling. I try to get them out of the shot as much as possible, but it's kind of, you had to, because they were sitting right there where I wanted to shoot.
What's up there? I can. Over the log cabin, Abraham Lincoln was born.
And an interesting note to this monument right here. Each of those steps represents 1 year of Abraham Lincoln's life. So each step you take, you're kind of walking through 1 year of our 16th president's life up until the time he was assassinated.
Do I?
And as I film things as we go to these places, I'm trying to think in my mind as much, shots. Like you see that I started at the concrete steps and I worked my way up. A lot of this is meant to be cut out. I mean, it's not great videography by any means. I'm not a videographer. I'm a history teacher. I do this just to kind of support my books. And I try to cut people out as much as I can. That's they're trying to enjoy themselves also. But that is those columns right there and that whole building is just a sight to see. It was Hodgenville, Kentucky. And just a pretty little park. I mean, it's kind of tucked away, and it's not one of the more well-known parks, I don't think. Yeah, that building was erected in 1909. And I did a video kind of talking about this is kind of made up history. I mean, he was born on that land, but everything else is kind of fake. Like the cabin you're going to see, I hate to spoil it, but that's not the cabin Abraham Lincoln was born in. It was one that they found or restored near this place, but it was not the actual one. But I guess they figured, what the heck? Let's just let people think. more of a symbol than actual history. And it's kind of I mean, you can see for yourself a tall ceiling building and it echoes really, really bad. But it's a neat little cabin. I mean, really, if you think about it, it's kind of enshrined right there. Like I said, it's a representation. It's not the actual cabin. Wouldn't it be grand, though, if it was the actual cabins? That would be a sight to see. Not saying this is not, but I guess we could pretend. Pretend that's Abraham Lincoln's birth cabin. Oh man, the architecture of that building is exquisite, though. I love how they put the cabin in there, though, kind of in that building. You can come see it any kind of weather. And I can imagine it gets kind of snowy up in Kentucky at some points. But I'm a champion of preserving places like this, the National Park Service. And I've said it over and over again, contact your congressman, your senators, whoever. Make sure these things are fully funded because we have to preserve our history.
I always think, go ahead, because it's easier to carve, because remember they were carving these things with stone carving.
I mean, that was pretty much all there was to see in that little, I'm not going to say fake,
What else?
history.
Do you have a map?
And right down the hill from the memorial, there's a little trail that takes you to what's called the Boundary Oak.
Walking in the woods.
I wish we had time to stop by or walk the trail, but we didn't. And as far as I made it, was right here's a little placard, and I turned around. Now I wish I had gone because I love old oak trees. I love the history behind them. I love how long they've been around. And if I had to do all over again, I'd probably take that walk around there, even though we were crunched on time. And we visited, this was spring break of 2025, the end of March. So the weather was okay for Kentucky. I guess it was a little cold, but it would have been a good walk around. I would love to have seen it. I don't think it was still there. I think that stump is in the museum that we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not walking very
If it was still there, I'm sure I would have went, but I don't think it was there. If I'm wrong, check me in the comments.
Do I?
Very, very pretty park. Almost walked right past one of the best things I saw there, and that's this sinking spring. I mean, as I walked down, you didn't know it was there, and they should have put the placard ahead of the thing instead of behind it. But you walk down, and you'll see the little spring, little waterfall right there. And I could just imagine Abraham Lincoln as a child maybe playing in something like that, or drinking the water. I mean, that's been there since those times. I mean, I stood where Abraham Lincoln had probably stood as a child. And that water goes somewhere. I'm sure it's a cave of some sort up under the property there. And I could, in my mind, I saw Abraham Lincoln as a child, as a gangly child, exploring the caves or standing in that little water right there. I know as a kid, I probably would have went down in there and see what I could see. There's a little museum there in the visitor center. It's a neat little museum. It was really crowded. I'm trying not to get the people standing around. I mean, it's really tight quarters in there. But the main thing that I remember from this is the big stump from the boundary oak. Like I said, I'm trying to keep the camera out of people's faces. I try to give people their privacy when I'm filming things like this because they're trying to enjoy it and I don't want to impede on them. And that makes it extremely difficult, like to zoom in on the things like this. And I try my best. It's a neat little museum. I mean, it's got a few artifacts in there. But I think that right there is the centerpiece, the boundary oak. Think of how long that tree was there before it became that stump, what it saw. I know this wasn't the greatest of videos. Like I said, we wasn't there for very long. We had driven from Pall Mall, Tennessee to Fort Knox, Kentucky. Those were the two main places I wanted to visit during this trip. And this was like a little side trip. I would love to go back to that area of Kentucky. I would love to go back to Mammoth Cave. I would like to visit more of that area. It's a very pretty place. And if you're ever in that part of Kentucky, stop by, support our national parks. The smallest national parks really need your support, the National Historic Sites. If there's one in your area, be sure to support it. Be sure to stop by if you're on road trips. Most of the time, you won't be disappointed. Every time I've kind of wheeled into little sites like this, I've discovered things I didn't know. Life is always an education. Never stop learning. Never stop being inquisitive. If we do, I think that's where we'll really mess up, to put it in the old country saying. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to like, subscribe to the channel. I mean, there's 4 shows, Iron Echoes, where we talk about old farm equipment. There's my podcast, Shadows and Storylines, where I talk about myself and my writing and everything in between. And there's also American Shadows, where we tell little stories here and there about places like this. And there's an episode in last season where we dive into the myth behind the cabin. But until next time, thanks, and I'll talk to you later.